During my second year of university, I decided to branch out from my comfort of painting while still carrying a practice which involved painting, if that makes sense. I began combining painting with other art forms, particularly sculpture, and morphing painting into more of an object, but also an environment. Let's just say my studio got very messy. Even though I didn't move forward with a lot of this work, it made me realise that I really wanted to focus on the theme of expanded painting and challenging the norm and the conventions of painting being confined to a canvas border. A good example of this is one of my final pieces from second year called Without Borders. This piece stemmed from my original aim of combining painting with many other art forms, in this case technology. I wanted to see how I can combine something so traditional with something so modern. I started off by taking photos of my own abstract paintings, capturing colour, texture and movement, and using Photoshop techniques to combine these images together, in turn creating a new digitally manipulated image. A lot of people ask me why abstract painting, and I think it comes down to the fact that I wanted the piece to feel free and liberating from the surface. I used Illustrator to produce these abstract looking shapes, and then later used After Effects to create this mapping of shapes, masking the photoshopped images through them and projecting them onto a canvas type material. I liked how the images almost painted the surface and that imperfection of it not being confined to the borders of the sculptural element of the piece. The main concept of this piece was to challenge the conventions of painting through sculpture, photography and projection, and despite having a very basic understanding of these digital softwares such as Illustrator and After Effects, I really enjoyed this concept and I really wanted to push this further into my final year. Fast forward to third year, I dove straight into developing my ideas and skills from my last piece. I decided to increase the size of the work, having bits of the canvas material hanging in the centre and increasing the number of sculptures. I started playing around with the projectors, adding more and playing around with the settings. What I found was that bit by bit I was creating a lot of depth and slowly getting to a point of creating more of an environment. This was a true turning point, and I realised that I definitely wanted to progress from here and create an immersive and interactive environment where painting is no longer confined to a surface but exists as something which is evolving and adapting. And I think with technology and the digital world becoming so widespread, I wanted to explore how I could combine painting with the digital and create something where audiences could experience painting in such an unexpected way, whilst exposing the adaptability and capability of the medium. When it came to my final piece for the 2025 degree show, I started to truly reflect on the pieces that I've made so far and to think about the slight changes that I would make to my process in order to fully refine my practice. I remember getting feedback from my tutors, and the main points were to make the movement and the character of the shapes more painterly, whilst also adding background audio to the piece. I think in the beginning of third year, I was so focused on abstracting painting as much as possible that I started to lose sight of those painterly elements altogether. So with this in mind, I started to create shapes derived directly from brushstrokes and translate these digitally through Illustrator and After Effects. From this, I developed new skills when using these softwares, and I was able to play around with certain tools to mimic the movement of brushstrokes in painting, whether fluid or disruptive. I also gave thought to the unevenness of the edges and the slight wiggled internal movement of the shapes. In terms of curation, I needed to find a way to enlarge and extend the projection so it would take over the surrounding space. Came up with a few ideas here and there, but I ended up testing out an idea with a convex mirror, and this was inspired by an exhibition that I saw in London. This worked so well as I was able to enlarge the projected images and take over the surrounding space, while still maintaining the brightness and colour of the video. Over the next few weeks, I developed my video, overlapping cool and warm hues together in order to create a dynamic visual, whilst layering different speeds of movement and a range of painterly splats and marks, overall translating a combination of control and chaos as expressed in abstract painting. It is also important to note that these sculptures made from soy wax and dust sheet allude to the traditional use of canvas and rabbit skin glue in painting. I also decided to take on my tutor's advice and start adding audio to my piece. With a lot of trial and error, I started using Premiere Pro to layer bits of audio together, and I was really focused on mirroring the dynamic movement of the visuals with the audio. I felt that the music really added to this environment that I wanted to create to fully transport audiences whilst they were being engulfed by the very colourful dynamic visuals around them. Here are a couple of videos of my exhibition space for the degree show. Using the surrounding space, I positioned the sculptures to reflect the fluidity of brushstrokes. And the final piece, Unbounded, a piece derived from painting but morphed and adapted to create an immersive environment which fully engulfs and transports audiences. Throughout this piece, the painterly elements are recontextualized through projection and sound, and through this hybridity, Unbounded repositions painting as an open and immersive practice. I am also so incredibly grateful to be given this opportunity not only to enter the Global Creative Graduate Showcase of 2025, but to also be able to show my creative process and work globally. So thank you so much.